Here we go. Hey everybody, you see that I'm wearing pink today, and I am wearing pink in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, October. This is a PSA. I'm going to start out with a PSA, public service announcement to all you moms, sisters, aunties, grandmas, cousins, nieces, women. Do your monthly breast exam. My suggestion is the same day as your birthday. That way you will remember, or maybe it'll help. Second, check in with your healthcare provider to see if it's time for a mammogram. Even though the mammogram is not comfortable, it doesn't involve needles, and it has been known to detect early breast cancer. And if your gut tells you that something does not feel right, go in and get checked out, because sometimes, as we all know, healthcare providers are not perfect and sometimes they're biased. So you follow your instincts and go get checked out. You are worth it, and somebody who cares about you wants you to take care of you. All right. Well, I am Karen Smith Frazier, and this is the Karen Smith Frazier podcast, number 43. Mind blown. I'm going to be talking about fixed mindset and growth mindset today. But before I do that, I just want to let you know that I am a life coach and a former school nurse. And after years of nursing, I found that I wanted to find a way that I could help people and help people grow in a different way other than my students who were sick, who would come to the office. And it was quite limited there. And so I wanted to kind of break out of the box, think a little bit differently and figure out ways that I could do that. And so as a life coach, I help many people who are caregivers, like nurses, teachers, parents, folks who have a heart for service, go from feeling stuck, unfulfilled in what they're doing, to fulfilled, motivated, and motivated enough to go after their own goals without feeling guilty. All right. So today I come with you without all of my notes. I do have some, but I wasn't able to print them off. But I just wanted to just go over a little bit about what a fixed mindset is and what a growth mindset is. Oftentimes I talk about growth mindset, but I realize that I've never really given you characteristics of a fixed mindset. So today I'm going to do a bit of that. And I'm also going to give you some strategies, maybe some tips on how to recognize where you are. Recognize some things that you can do to expand your mind. You don't have to blow your mind, but expand your mind so that you are better able to adapt to change and those kind of things. Okay. All right, let's get started. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna list some qualities of some characteristics of fixed mindset. And you can take note and see if any of these resonate with you. Okay. All right. So with a fixed mindset, folks may avoid challenges. They want to stay in the safe zone. They know what they like, and they don't really want to try something new. I'm good. Okay. Another one is that they may refuse to receive criticism or feedback. It's like they're in their zone. They know what they're doing in their head, And what they're doing is perfectly fine in their head. And for somebody to come over and tell them otherwise is like an affront. It's not something that's taken positively. So they don't like criticism. Criticism is seen as something offensive. And yeah, they don't like feedback. Another one is that they focus on proving themselves. It's like very focused on themselves. Like, what's a good example for this? Gee, they want to like feel like they're standing alone, like they've pulled themselves up by their own bootstraps. They don't need anybody. They innately have whatever they need, and they don't need folks. Okay. Another one is that they may feel threatened by others. So when other people are doing well, they kind of feel like, okay, it's threatening. They fear that they may lose their position. And so that's not a good feeling. Another characteristic is that they can't accept failure or mistakes. Their own mistakes or others' mistakes. So because they are, they have it all together, they have a very difficult time of admitting when they're wrong. You've all been around people like that or heard of people like that. They just cannot admit when they've made a mistake. And I'll just leave it at that. Another one is that they shy away from unfamiliar things. And I mentioned this earlier. Okay, I said that earlier. And they believe on this one, they may believe that talent and skills are fixed. So, for example, certain people are born leaders and certain people are not. Certain people, they may believe that certain people aren't supposed to have certain jobs and other people are supposed to have certain jobs. It's very fixed. Some other characteristics are that they miss the good old days. Man, the good old days when life was simple and everything else. So they're not really able to understand what were the circumstances that made their life so simple. And was it so simple for everybody else in the good old days? And what does good old days mean for, what good old days means for one person is not good old days for somebody else. Another one, almost done with the fixed mindset characteristics, is that they have a fear of missing out. They gotta be in the know about everything. And so this is one way that they're distracting from focusing on themselves. If they're in everybody else's business, then they're not really taking care of their own business. Another characteristic of a fixed mindset is maybe that they complain constantly. Kind of like why me? Or why do they get to do that and I can't get to do that? Why do they have access to those resources, but I don't? Why? A lot of why questions. A couple more fixed mindset quality may include resisting learning. They already know enough, so they don't need to learn anymore. Okay, so you get the idea. So let me go to growth mindset. Now, growth mindset is what I talk about a lot. It's more pliable. You're able to be a bit more flexible. One quality is that folks with a growth mindset live in the present. They see the good, the bad, and the ugly going on in the moment, and they still continue to move forward. Even though a lot of bad things, let's say, may have happened in the past, they're aware of it. They take what they've learned from that and move on. They're living in the present. Another one is that they help others succeed, whereas in a fixed mindset, they don't want, they want to be on top. They want to be number one. In a growth mindset, they help others. They help others succeed because they know that learning, that you learn by helping others succeed also. Another growth mindset quality is that we consider feedback. You know, feedback can be in the form of failure. Failure is feedback. And so, you know, they'll consider the feedback and not quit, start all over. Another quality of growth mindset is that one is constantly learning. Whereas in fixed mindset, resist learning, you want to stay in the good old days and I don't want to change anything. With a growth mindset, you're constantly learning because every time you learn something new, it kind of makes you a little bit curious about, what else is out there? What else could make me a better person? All right. Another quality is that they learn from their mistakes. As I said earlier, failure is not necessarily an all bad thing. Has there ever been a time in your life where you failed at something and then you realized that the outcome brought you, another opportunity? It may have been, maybe you applied for a job and didn't get it, but then were offered a greater opportunity somewhere else. So learn from mistakes and learn from failures. All right. Another quality of growth mindset is that they learn from their mistakes. So that means they have to admit their mistakes. So there is, I guess, a bit of humility that we have to have when we're trying new things, or even in relationships when we, just do something that, we make mistakes. We have to own them and, move in from there. And it helps to repair relationships too when we have a growth mindset. Another one is that they view challenges as opportunities. They embrace constructive feedback, focus on process, not just the end result. And as I said earlier, they're inspired by others' success, learn and grow from failures, step out of their comfort zone, and believe that talent is ever improving. In other words, there's more. I was born with some nice things and some talents, but boy, I've grown a lot since then. Thank goodness. All right. So just to sum up, well, not to sum up, I'm going to just give you, some ideas on how to shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, and just some things that you might want to do if you have noticed one or the other. Now, granted, for me, I see myself in both lists at some point. And so the first thing is that we recognize our fixed mindset. If we recognize it, then we can kind of listen to that voice in our head that's saying, well, why don't I want to challenge myself? Or why do I think this is unfair? Is something really unfair? Or is it just, bumping against my ego? Like, do I really need help with something? Yeah, maybe I do. Maybe I don't have it all together like I thought I did. So recognizing your fixed mindset is the first step in growing your growth mindset. Number 2, embrace challenges and failure. Seek out challenges. Seek out new life and new civilizations. Boldly go where no one has gone before. You've heard this line. Well, it fits perfectly. Embrace the challenges and the failures that come along with it. Because if you're going to try something new, well, it's new. Odds are you're not going to be great at it all the time. And you're going to have to learn some new skills to go with it. All right. So it's like when you don't succeed, understand that it's not the end, but a valuable learning experience that provides insight for future attempts. Because you're not going to quit after that first failure. I got you. You got it. All right. Number 3, value effort and the process. So focus on your effort. Shift your focus from, I'm supposed to already know how to do this, to, I'm going to learn how to do that. I want to do that. I'm going to figure it out. What do I need to do to learn that? And focusing on the process means that it's not going to be like a quick fix. We are constantly learning and, give ourselves some grace, but just focus on your effort. Are you putting the time in? Are you not reaching your goal because you just can't do it and you weren't created to do it? Or is it because, you just binge watched shows on Netflix all night and now you didn't put in the time? So, focus on the effort. Number 4, cultivate learning and self-awareness. Nurture curiosity. Be curious and open to new knowledge and new experiences, that foster lifelong learning. I am a lifelong learner. I like learning a lot of little things. I like to challenge myself to learn, like, how to play different instruments, and I like to dance, so I like to learn new dances, but even new skill sets. I'm a life coach now. And I did never picture myself as a life coach, but I realized that what I had been doing naturally uh, in my nursing career, in my life, is listening and walking alongside folks to help them realize how awesome they really are and how talented and skilled they are, and really to help people to recognize their giftedness and to go for it and to stop you know pretending that they don't belong in great places. And so that's one thing: cultivate learning and self-awareness. Number 5, seek feedback and support. This can be hard. I sometimes have a hard time asking for help, and or even recognizing when I need help until the last minute. But accept the help, accept feedback, be open to constructive criticism. That's one thing I was just talking about over the weekend. I asked some people to give me some feedback on a project, and everybody was so nice. Oh, it was great. And my response was, politeness does not help me. Being polite and positive does not help when we want to make improvements and make positive changes and to grow. So that constructive feedback is key. So seek feedback and support. Connect with people who inspire you and who support your growth. And finally, number 6, reinforce your growth mindset. Celebrate your growth. Celebrate it. Sometimes we can't even acknowledge that we've grown because we're too close to it. We meet one goal and then we set a an extra one, and then we meet that goal. And sometimes it just feels like we haven't done anything because the process is slow. But you have to sit back and, look at the data. Where were you last year at this time? Or even where were you at the beginning of the year? When you set some goals in the beginning of the year, where were you? I mean, where are you now? Were you able to reach some of those goals? Are you still following through on some of the things that you said you were going to do? And so you gotta, reinforce your growth mindset. Celebrate your growth. Understand that your mind is amazing, and you are able to be flexible. It's able to be flexible and able to, shift when circumstances shift and to continue to go forward. So those 6 tips, again, for moving from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, were: first, recognize your fixed mindset; 2, embrace challenges and failures; 3, value effort and the process; 4, cultivate learning and self-awareness; 5, seek feedback and support; and number 6, reinforce your growth mindset. So I hope that these tips will help you to maintain your growth mindset. Don't beat yourself up when you notice that your thinking has been kind of fixed. You've kind of been stuck in that why me, or circumstances kind of thinking. And whenever I challenge myself, I grow in some way. And, to be honest with you, growth can be painful. You heard of growing pains. It's not just a physical thing, but because you start to recognize those people in your lives, those circumstances in your lives that are not helping you to be the best version of you. And so I'm hoping this podcast was helpful. My masterclass, just want to let you know, is October 27th, time to be announced. And I'm so happy that you're here today. I have not been able to look at comments. Let's see. Let me just check really quick. Let's see if there's anything. I can't see it. But I appreciate you tuning in today. I appreciate you tuning in every Monday. And as always, I encourage you to unleash your brilliance, uncover your light. The world is waiting for you, waiting for you, waiting for you, waiting for you. The world needs you, needs your love, needs your presence, needs your talent. That's it. Have a great day.